Welcome and thank you for being here. If you have found your way to this space, it may be because somewhere in your life, you are searching for a deeper understanding, perhaps for yourself, your family, or the patterns that seem to repeat across generations. In this series, we will explore the wisdom of the family soul, beginning with one of the most powerful movements in systemic work: acceptance. Life itself is the deepest systemic truth. It arrives exactly as it does, not as you wish, not as we expect, and not always as we feel fair. And yet, within the movement of life, there is wisdom. Wisdom that becomes visible when we begin to look at our families with openness and humility. Today, we begin a new series exploring the wisdom of the family soul through the theme of acceptance. In systemic work, acceptance is not passive. It is not resignation, and it is not agreement with everything that has happened. Acceptance is something much deeper. It is the willingness to see reality as it is. And often, this is the first step towards healing. Because life itself is the deepest systemic truth. As I said before, it arrives exactly as it does, not as we wish, not as we expect, and not always as we feel fair. Systems, families, and people move according to patterns we cannot control. When we resist these truths, we create suffering. But when we begin to accept what is, something inside the system begins to soften. From a systemic perspective, acceptance is an act of honoring reality. It's not just it is what it is. It goes deeper than that. It means acknowledging that every person in our family system belongs. Yeah, I can hear your thoughts going. But what if? Just stay with me a little. Every event that has occurred has a place in the story. The good, the bad, the ugly. Each event has a place in the story. And every life that comes before us contributed in some way to our own existence. Just take a moment to think about that a little. Acceptance does not mean condoning harmful actions. It means recognizing that the past cannot be undone. And that healing begins when we stop arguing with what already is. I know it's so difficult for us to just come down and just look at the reality of what is. We always want to change it. We always want to make it better. Or we argue it was worse than it was. Whichever way. Healing begins when we stop arguing with what already is. When we deny or reject parts of our family story, those parts often continue to influence us in hidden ways. But when we acknowledge them with compassion and humility, we restore balance in the system. Acceptance allows energy that was trapped in resistance to begin flowing again. So when you feel resistance, what is it that you're resisting? And what is it that's trapped within that resistance that you are struggling to accept? Imagine a woman who has always felt anger towards her father. She left the family when she was young, like many of us do. For many years, she carried the belief that her life would have been better if he had stayed. In Constellation's work, we begin to see something deeper. Her father himself was carrying unresolved grief from his own childhood. He had never learned how to remain present in relationships. When she begins to acknowledge his limitations, not to excuse them, but to simply see them, something shifts. Doesn't make it right, but her anger softens. And then she discovers that the energy she had been using to resist the past can now be used to live life more fully. Acceptance did not change what happened, but it changed the relationship to it. You may wish to pause for a moment and reflect. What part of your life are you still resisting? What reality might be waiting to be seen with greater acceptance? You might gently place a hand on your heart and repeat this sentence quietly. I allow life to be as it is. And I allow myself to move forward. You do not have to force acceptance. Sometimes the first step is simply becoming aware of where resistance lives inside us. Acceptance is the doorway to systemic peace. When we stop fighting reality, we begin to find our place within it. And from that place, the wisdom of the family soul can guide us forward. Thank you for taking the time to reflect and explore the wisdom of acceptance. When even one person in a family begins to look at life with greater openness, something subtle can shift across generations. If this reflection resonates with you, you may wish to subscribe or return to the next episode in this series. In our next conversation, we will explore a very important systemic movement. Accepting our parents as they are. It may be hard to go there for you, but maybe just stick around a little longer, because together we will look at how seeing our parents as human beings shaped by their own histories can bring unexpected peace. I look forward to continuing this journey with you. Be safe until we meet again.